if you are up
Domly
there,
Angli Requie.
if you are up there, please say that Steve and our guest is audible. Please,
Hallelujah.
give us a sign.
Praise Kyle.
Good
Praise
evening.
Kyle. Kyle.
Praise
Praise
Kyle.
to Kyle. Hallelujah, Kyle. I feel the love. I feel the love from Kyle.
Oh
He's
boy.
touching me. He's
I think
touching me all over the place.
Oh boy.
people
Can
should just
everybody hear
start
us now?
praying to Kyle.
Yes.
They're gonna pray to Kyle
They said that was
and not
loud.
God.
Oh, well,
Really?
Well,
that'd be nice, actually.
Have you met Kyle? I mean, he's worthy of worship a little bit.
Okay, good. Everybody can
I would think
hear
so.
everybody. This is fantastic. Maybe he does
so
answer
happy.
prayers. Thank you.
Tears.
I owe you.
Tears of joy.
Welcome back. Sorry for last night. We Okay, look, here's the deal. The wording in the settings of this program that we use is just completely off. Okay? I went yesterday under settings before the show started and changed the setting under recording. It was like default or something like that. I changed it to the microphone that I use, thinking that when they say recording, they mean recording. Like if you were going to record something to do a video. Apparently that's not the case. Apparently when they say recording, they mean everything, everybody's audio. So the reason that you could only hear me yesterday and not Steve or Matthew is because I changed a setting thinking it meant one thing. And after, how long did we work on that, Steve?
Hours.
3 hours?
Hours.
3 hours?
At least. Yeah, it was a few hours.
I literally tried everything. Literally. Everything that I could find to try, we did it. Steve probably had 16 test streams going to his channel. And finally, at like 12 o'clock, I was like, well, the last thing we can do is try that recording setting. And son of a bitch, that's exactly what it was.
So what he's basically telling you, it was something very, very fucking simple.
Yeah.
Basically.
You're probably wondering why the Patreon, why our Patreons are all in Latin. Let's see if I can fix that real quick.
I
That
was
one of
wondering
those
about
things
that.
that fell through the crack. Okay. So Steve, what's going on with you, buddy?
I'm still recuperating from yesterday because, after we got done, we were figuring these things out. And he's right. We were streaming my channel quite some time in private streams trying to try different settings. But I ended up talking to Matt for several hours. And I'm looking forward to him coming back tonight. He's actually really a cool dude. Really fun conversationalist. So he'll be back later on tonight. So it's going to be a long night. I got my coffee. This is going to be talking about paranormal stuff. So that's going to be fun.
Yeah,
I'm good to go.
We're doing 4 streams tonight for you guys. We just got done talking about one of Mike Winger's videos on the heels of the debate that he had on this channel where it got really awkward. We're doing now paranormal stuff. After this, we're going into CGI and how Flat Earth just gets that completely wrong. And then following that, we'll have Fight the Flat Earth back with us, and then a new Flat Earther, AB. I think it's AB.
Allie
will be
B?
here. So long night with us.
I
So,
think is it Ali B? It's Ali B, right?
I think so.
Allie
Yeah,
B.
I know Ali B. Ali B, if you're listening, you owe me a bottle of whiskey, single malt. Remember that.
How is Allie B? I don't know
Me
him.
and Ali go way back. Oh yeah, no, he's actually a pretty cool dude actually for a flat earther. I mean, all things considered.
Good deal. Buckle up and get comfortable because Steve and I are going to be crashing your place for the next 6 hours at least. And there's no telling what will happen between now and then. Before we jump into speaking with Dan, though, I wanted to read you guys an email that I got from a very irritated incel following the other night. Apparently, this guy is he's well known on the forum, and for some reason, got the impression that we had invited him onto the show. We did not. Somebody left a message or a comment saying that we should invite him on. I said, give them my email if they think they have something different to bring to the table. We'll gladly talk to them. So, Steve, would you like to know how he responded to that?
I'm not going to venture a guess with these guys. Probably not well.
Great. It's great. He begins with, I'm never going to come onto your show to speak about incels. You are disingenuous, ignorant, you're a fool, and at no point had any intention to ever change your mind about incels. You only seek to laugh at them and mock them on your show. Any person with an IQ above 100 can see that you were beaten severely in your latest podcast by the two members of the Incel Forum. You and Shannon were asking aimless, vague, and frankly stupid questions of no depth at all. And your two guests still made you look like blubbering fools, mumbling and unable to formulate coherent or intelligent responses. The fact that you had to, at the end, act out like an absolute child and start swearing in a temper tantrum only highlights how severely angry you were that you had nothing of consequence to add to the discussion. And you were too stupid to verbally defend yourself. So you finished in a scathing ad hominem. Do you know what that means? That word, ad hominem? Probably not. Since you said the only science word you know is photosynthesis.
Wait, how is that a science word?
Maybe you'll increase your vocabulary, kid. Here's the last paragraph.
And it's actually two words, ad hominem.
You are not intelligent enough, nor emotionally capable enough to handle or even be willing to consider handling the truth that incels speak. You are egotistical and immature. That latest incel podcast will have easily driven out every single one of your followers with triple-digit IQs. You deserve zero respect for your arrogance. I hope you have a terrible day. So, I responded, wow, it sounds like you need to get laid. Oh, wait.
Damn. Yeah, these guys' level of projection and filtration is just off the charts. It's like they don't watch the same things we watch. And Kyle and I have seen this before. We've actually gone through the comments and we've messaged each other going, did this person actually watch the same video we watched? Because I guarantee it, they didn't. Or they must have watched like 5 seconds of it because nothing that guy said was even closely related to the video that I had watched of you and Shannon, because I watched most of it. And those incels didn't do anything but just, well, one, they made Shannon pissed, although she didn't show it, but I can tell she was getting a little agitated. But yeah, I mean, the ending was when you showed his, all his pejoratives that he was using for homosexuals and stuff like that. That's what they stand for. I mean, that's what else are the incel community really going for? What is it they hope to accomplish?
Well,
because every single one of them has the same basic ideas against gays and women, and they can't get laid, whatever. But I mean, what do they hope to accomplish by all this?
Let's be honest, Steve. I think Shannon would have gotten mad if she had a male brain and could understand most of what they were saying, but most of it
fair enough.
Head, well, so I think she's
all three of you had to talk to Shannon's level. I get that, right? I do understand.
Yeah,
we love you, Shannon. Don't kill me, please. Don't kill me.
Okay.
She probably came with her brain.
Let's buckle in and get into some more paranormal.
Some woo.
This week we did a stream with Paranormal Encyclopedia, the host of that show, and we kind of dove into some different aspects of demonology and what he deals with. Dan, do you want to introduce yourself and tell people how you came about contact, or why you contacted me, and what you want to talk about?
Sure. It's kind of funny, I've always been involved and interested in the paranormal stuff. And one topic that came up was flat Earth, which had nothing to do with that, but I just dismissed it as so ridiculous, which I still do. But somehow I ended up in this community and started talking with a lot of people, especially the ones that debunk, and made some really fun connections, and just kind of got involved and saw your guys' show from there. And I've just been having a lot of fun with it. And when you put out that message asking for different topics, looked like you guys wanted to discuss some new things. I'm like, well, sure. I've got some weird experiences, and I don't take myself too seriously, so I don't mind making myself look like a fool for other people's entertainment. It's all good.
Now, did watching the other night when we had the demonologist on, and how we kind of approached that, did that make you nervous any?
Honestly, I was kind of in and out. I think you guys did a fine job. Um, a few people in the chat were kind of nasty, but that's going to be like that for any conversation. So, that doesn't really affect me one way or another.
Don't worry. They say
I
much worse shit about Steve and I.
Really?
I think one thing I do have going for me is I've made a lot of friends in the community. So, even if they want to say some nasty things, they might just, bite their tongue or their fingers on the keyboard just to be nice.
No,
But I'm a big boy. I can take it.
they won't.
He's saying be nice, like Pete. He's a special snowflake. Keep it civil. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not gonna beat you up, man. Dude, I've been into this stuff, right? I mean, I've been where you're at, so I don't fault you, and I don't think people are like whack jobs because they think some kind of paranormal activity happens. I find it to be a fascinating topic, actually.
Well, here's the thing that's important too is, we call it paranormal activity, but there could be a very natural reason for it. That we just don't understand, or it's normal things anyway, and that people are just misunderstanding it, and they think it's paranormal. And I actually think that is what happens most of the time. I think there's perfectly good explanations for 99% of the stuff. And what I'm really interested in is like that 1% that really kind of blows my mind. So one thing that I wanted to bring up is, I have like this question. Do people believe in paranormal things because they experienced something, or do they experience it because they believe in it? I think it's an interesting question to look at, and you could make a case for both sides. And I'm not even saying that the ones that experience it are actually experiencing something that's supernatural, but it's something they experience and they don't understand it.
I think
so it's an interesting way to.
If I had to guess, I would say a lot of it, in my opinion, is stemmed off of either drastic or dramatic life changes, like somebody dying and that unexpected loss, or something traumatic happens, or they're like you said, they have a religious faith which opens that door of belief in a location or another world that's outside of this one, and so they're more open to that. And when those two kind of situations combined, I think it makes for a perfect storm of confusion and not looking for the actual answer, but being okay with it being something that they can't explain. Like most people,
I would agree.
They look to ghosts as or signs that their loved ones have moved on to the other side. They're actively seeking. I remember when my grandpa died, my mom would say all the time that she kept seeing this owl. She would be driving down the road, there'd be an owl in a tree. She went up to my grandma's to lock the gates up or whatever. There'd be an owl. So she associated that with her dad that had just passed away. I think just people look for those kind of patterns, and anything that seems like it would fit, they go for it.
I would agree 100% with that. Absolutely.
Steve?
Yeah, no, I think it's a combination of both. I think that, like, when I was doing a lot of occult stuff, I just like the iconography of it. I like the occult symbols. I like the rune writing. I like the Theban, which is the witch's alphabet. I was really heavy into Black Sabbath, obviously, and so that was the motif of things, right? People were really into death metal and occultism, and it was all superficial, right? I never was like, oh, hey, hail Satan. But I happen to love the style. I happen to love the music, right? And I never really believed that entity, Satan, even existed until later on in life when I went into theism. But I think that when you have a propensity to think some things can be paranormal, your mind does more often play these tricks on you. I've had that actually happen where later on I'm like, you know what, that was a logical explanation for that, and I think I could probably figure out what it was. But at the time you're like, oh shit, right?
So
exactly, yeah, that's a good point.
You said that you've had some experiences happen to you that you can't explain. Do you want to take us through?
Just to kind of give an outline first. Growing up, I had a few things that personally have happened, and the family has happened to them, that were kind of odd, that kind of made me interested in it. And then years later, I had a good friend of the family that started his own paranormal investigating group. And so I got on board with doing investigations with them. And there's a couple things there that I can't figure out. Most of the time, I'll say that it's perfectly logical, the stuff that, you see. But there's a few things that just seem odd. So anyways, growing up, we had things that would happen around the house that I guess you could consider, paranormal stuff. One of the big things would be with the blinds. The morning you would open up the blinds, walk into the other room, come back, and they'd be closed again, or vice versa. Again, if something like that happened once, our memories are really poor. It'd be very easy to say, well, you didn't really do it, and you thought you did, but this was something that happened frequently. So, either something was going on or someone was playing a joke, and, 35 years later, they still haven't fessed up to it, which is possible.
So,
but
what exactly were the blinds doing, like when you saw them?
Oh, it's not. We didn't see anything like happen, in real time. It was they'd be shut. Like those plastic blinds. You would open them up, when the sun came up. You'd walk in the other room. You'd come back, and they'd be closed again. In the facing downward position. Weird things like that. My mother used to tell me she would wake up in the middle of the night and hear the piano playing. We had one of those big upright pianos. The biggest thing for me personally was a situation when my brother and I were the only two home. We were there was kind of two living rooms in the house on either side, and I was laying down on one couch, and then he was on the other side of the house on the other couch. And I look up, and someone comes running through our hallway into the dining room and then stomped up the stairs. So not only did I see someone run up the stairs, but I could hear the stomping of the feet, boom, 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 up the stairs. So I wait like a minute, and I assume it's my brother. We're the only two people home. So I kind of like quietly tiptoe up the stairs thinking he's going to jump out at me. We used to always play fight. And I looked around everywhere, and there was no one upstairs. I went over to the one window that's accessible, and I went to go look to see if maybe someone, jumped out the window or something, but I couldn't see anything. So I go downstairs, and I see my brother half asleep on the couch, and I say, hey, did you just run upstairs? And he's like, no. And I'm like, did you hear someone run upstairs? He's like, yeah, wasn't that you? And I was like, no. So it was kind of creepy. But I'll tell you what would be more creepier than having some sort of paranormal thing?
Well, hold on,
it would be if that was actually someone. I'm sorry?
Let's hold that thought for just a second. How did you say you were?
Sure. I would say 14.
14. And no way your brother could be messing with you.
No, after all these years, absolutely not.
And it couldn't be anybody else.
It could be. That's what I'm saying. To me, that's scarier that it could have been somebody else, and they got into the
That'd
house
be worse,
without
right?
us knowing.
It was in your house.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the kind of point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
Is that the only time it happened?
Yes, that was. Yeah.
And
so,
is there a
and again, that
story,
doesn't
like
mean
behind the house that you guys lived in, like somebody died in the house, something tragic happened there? Any reason why?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but no, not that I'm aware of. There was, before our family bought it, there was an older woman that lived here, and she moved before she passed away. So I really don't know of any other history that would have led to that.
What do you think at this point now? What, if you had to guess, what's your idea of what happened? What that was?
I have no idea. Because when I talk about paranormal things, I don't automatically go to it's ghosts. I think there could be a number of different explanations. Even some mainstream scientists believe in like a multiverse theory. I mean, who knows? Maybe there's some other, dimension that sometimes crosses up with ours. That sounds ridiculous, but who knows? So I don't have an answer. To me, it's just fun talking about, and I don't know.
Steve, if you had to guess, what would you say that was?
Well, I probably was somebody that you just probably weren't aware of that was probably in the house. These instances, like I said, especially recollection back that far ago. I mean, you're probably in your 40s, I would assume, right? 30s.
I just
30s,
turned
40s.
40 a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Okay, so I know how hard it is for me to think back to when I was 14. Matter of fact, the other day I was like trying to remember stuff that had happened back at that age. I was like, wow, I just have completely blank. It's gone. So we do have recollection of things that are completely different than probably what actually transpired. And going back that far without corroboration of the events, it's difficult. Luckily, I have people in my life that I've known since I was a kid, and these experiences that I had, I still know some of them. So we can actually still talk about these things, although they tend not to want to. They were real events, so they do happen. It's just trying to explain them. It's difficult sometimes, but these real events that people do experience, but I think they have natural explanations. So when people say, well, you didn't really experience this, well, no, that's BS. We probably absolutely did. But I think it probably was somebody in the house.
That was going to be my guess, because I think when looking back, especially because I think when you decided to to get into the paranormal investigating and that stuff, that to me, you kind of I don't want to say you purposely go and look for either thinking back or out in everyday life. You're more aware of situations that might seem a little weird, and so thinking back, something as simple as let's say did you have a dog?
No.
Didn't have a dog. Okay, it could have been a cousin or something that was over there.
Not at the time, no.
Ran up the stairs. You know what I mean? And then you look back and you think, well, I can't really explain what happened there. But to me, if it were, let's say it were something paranormal, I would think that you would have more than just one instance of something like that happening. Like a one-off event seems to me for when your house is haunted or whatever, stuff like that happens like all the time.
Yeah. Like I was saying, little stuff used to happen all the time, but that was the only time that I can recall something like that happening. But like you said, our memories are awful. Mm-hmm. So anything anecdotal is really, you just take it with a grain of salt. And I recognize that. I'm not going to say, hey, this is what it was. I have no idea.
Worst comes to worst.
I'm not going to.
You've got a very pleasant ghost that maybe runs in the house every now and then, closes the blinds for you, and plays the piano.
There you go.
Could be a lot worse.
That's funny.
Well,
you're right.
I remember it was in the Navy, and there was a metaphysical bookstore down in Orlando, Florida, that I would help out with. And again, just like the iconography, by the way, that was the word I was thinking of. Somebody had pointed out to me. Thank you, iconography. So I had liked the iconography of the occult stuff. But anyways, I was with a couple people, and we kind of looked at each other, and we're like, do you guys feel like something's off? And all of a sudden they were like, yeah. And the lady, the owner, her name was Star, she's like, yeah, I've been feeling that all day. And she's like, well, let's go check it out. And so we walked in the back, and in the very corner, there was this like dim area. And she said, do you guys see that? And we're like, yeah. She's like, I think that's an elemental. Okay. And I'm not buying this, right? But bear with me. So like, I think it's an elemental. I'm like, just like a spirit, basically of fire or air or earth or water. An elemental is yeah, exactly like that. The band. So there's a band up there playing with drums but
Earth, Fire, and Wind.
So she Earth, Fire, and Wind. Yeah, exactly. Fifth Dimension is a good band too. Age of Aquarius, and she said, well, I've been feeling that elemental, but she's like, maybe that's what it is. And she's like, let me try to get rid of it. And she did a little witchcraft stuff here. And I watched this thing literally like dissipate into the wall, like literally like went from dim to just not there. Now, again, I'm realizing my eyes are probably adjusting, right? But at the time, right, it was very, I was like, what the hell just happened there? I mean, I'm watching this thing just literally just go into the wall and go away and not be a dark spot any longer. And I felt kind of lightheaded too. Now, again, all anecdotal stuff, and I don't think there was anything real there looking back all these years. But at the time, when you experience things like that as a group, it is very convincing, I gotta admit.
Woo-woo.
But it was probably just my eyes adjusting.
Woo-woo, Steve.
Like I said, we all have stories, man.
See, that's the thing, though. I haven't had anything odd like that happen ever to me.
We need to. Let's go find a haunted house and stay the night.
I love haunted houses.
Did I ask you that once and you said you wouldn't? I thought I asked you that before.
I love haunted houses.
So you would actually stay overnight in a haunted house?
Hell yeah.
Okay, if I would, no problem if I'm guaranteed no spiders.
They're not haunted. Like
Well, I don't care about the haunting. I'm concerned about spiders.
Have either of you seen these urban explorers on YouTube?
Yeah.
Where they go in abandoned places.
Oh yeah.
I would love that.
It's amazing.
Spiders.
But some of those places are like really creepy. And there's a compilation on YouTube. I think you type in when urban exploring goes wrong, and there's this one video where these guys are walking down this hallway in this old it's like an asylum. I think they used it for tuberculosis, but they're walking down this hallway, and all of a sudden they walk past this door and the door just slams shut. And so they get startled and start taking off running, and all you hear is something like, it's otherworldly, like screaming coming at them. Now, I don't know if that's staged. It was still creepy to watch. But even creepier than that, on that same video, these guys are in this old children's ward, and they walk past this little tricycle. It's a little pink tricycle. It's laying down, right? Well, they walk down the hallway, and they're coming back up. And when they come back up, the thing's standing straight up. Now, this stuff is probably 100% staged. It's probably, just for views or whatever. But seeing it in the dark in these old places, you see all the retro stuff everywhere, the couches, it's creepy as hell. So,
by the way,
history is
somebody
really
else
cool too.
Somebody in the video chat actually remembers me asking you that question, Kyle, asking, would you stay the night in a haunted house? And they remember you saying no as well. So maybe you may have misunderstood my question before.
I don't remember.
But we have somebody, this is interesting. We have somebody in the live chat that says, Ben Lawrence says, I'm willing to use my Ouija board with my boyfriend tonight at 3 a.m. if you want to watch.
Yes.
I'm down for that. Is that what time? Pacific Eastern, by the way? Because, Earth's not flat. We have time zones. But, yeah, no, I would be fine. As long as I'm in a full bodysuit, like, just so I don't get bit by spiders, I'm okay with staying in a haunted house.
Now, let me hold on. Let me clarify this. When you say haunted house, right, what are you talking about?
Well, like houses that are purported to be haunted by poltergeist or
not like a
ghost or demonic activity.
A haunted house you go to for Halloween. That's
no. We're talking about no. We're not talking about the fake stuff. We're talking about Amityville horror type level.
I know where they're getting me confused. I said that I wouldn't go into McCamey Manor, that haunted house.
Oh, okay. That might because I think you misunderstood me because I remember distinctly asking, would you go on a regular haunted house? But I think you may have taken it to be
maybe I did,
other haunted house.
I remember saying distinctly I would not go into McCamey Manor's haunted house.
Oh no, hell no, me either. Are you kidding? I that was a separate incident. I remember you saying
I would do something abandoned.
And I was like, oh yeah.
Dan,
me too. Let's do it.
So, in your investigations that you did, did you ever see anything like Kevin told us about a time where he watched footsteps walk across the floor to this guy they were monitoring? Did you ever see anything like that?
Never anything like that. In all honesty, most of the stuff that went into investigating, and the ones I've been on, we have found legitimate reasons for. I'll give you a couple examples. One person was having real bad feelings of paranoia and hallucinations. So we found out using one of those EMF detectors that there was a whole bunch of wires over by her bed where she was getting most of this stuff happening. And the thing was just like, it was like peaked. And having that high, amount of EMF was actually making some of these feelings come up. So she had the electricians come in, fixed it all up, and then she was fine. What I found is a lot of times just giving people peace of mind is what it's really about.
Mm-hmm. That reminds me, this is something that I've wanted to do a show on since we started the show. I just can't find anybody that is willing to come on to do it. But you know those people that are very sensitive to electromagnetic way, like they won't go around any electronics. Have you seen this, Steve?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Of course.
Is this a real thing?
I haven't seen it personally myself, so I can't really answer that.
Steve?
I have not seen it firsthand, but I know somebody who used to do it. Her name is Heretic Woman. She used to do ghost hunting, and she used to use EMP meters and all that stuff. So maybe we can get her on one of these days to talk about that.
No, I'm talking about these are people that are super sensitive to electromagnetic waves.
Oh, you're talking about the individuals.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I don't know any of them personally, but I do know that they think that some of those people might be. Remember back when in the 80s and 90s with fluorescent lighting, people were getting very sick or in offices.
Yes.
They think some of it may have been because of that. Yeah.
Is that real though? I've heard that it's just all in your head.
I don't see why not. I
Okay.
have no idea. I don't see why not.
So Dan, there's not been one thing that sticks out in your mind that you've seen that.
Not seen. I was going to get to some of the things that kind of got me to scratch my head, but I want to preface it a little bit because most people that go in and investigate talk about EVPs, electronic voice phenomenon, which on their own aren't very reliable. Pareidolia, you can see phases and things. There's an audio equivalent, and a lot of times, if you're looking for something, you can hear something when there's really nothing there. One thing that really resonated with me is when that whole Laurel Yanny thing was going around, and there was another one that was like Brainstorm and Green Needle, and really sometimes you can just hear what you want to hear. And with orbs, like don't even ask me about orbs. I think those are ridiculous. When someone comes to me with, "Oh, I got orbs," like I usually dismiss that without even looking. The exception would be is if you get multiple pieces of evidence that corroborate each other. And that's why I wanted to talk about this one piece in particular. I remember when I emailed you, Kyle, I talked about like I had this one thing that happened that really, had me stumped. Like, well, I want to talk to some non-believers to see what they think about this.
Mm-hmm. Before you do that, some of the things you had mentioned, let's get out of the way real quick. That Laura and Yanni, it's Laurel, by the way. No, it's both actually. What happens is that Yanni is on the higher frequencies, so people as they get older, they don't have high pitch hearing, so they're hearing just the Laurel aspect of it rather than the Yanni. So that's something just because as you age, you don't hear the higher frequencies. So it's actually both. Yeah. That one's pretty bizarre because people are like being like it's Yanni, and I'm like, no, it's clearly Laurel.
Was the dress blue or gold?
That was
That's
blue. That was a blue black dress, wasn't it?
I don't know. Sure.
Yes.
And the orbs only because on Charles Couple devices, when you have a flash or something like that, any kind of dust would reflect that off, and that's why you don't see it on certain types of cameras. You only see it on the old cheap Charge Couple device cameras because they were cheap. Yeah.
Okay.
Nowadays you don't see them any longer, right? Technology has improved.
Yeah. Okay, so let me tell you about this kind of strange thing I have because it takes two pieces of evidence and they go together. Our group was investigating this ambulance barn in a couple towns over from where I am, and my sister and we had out our little tape recorder, so we could talk into an empty room looking like fools. And let me tell you, it does make you feel silly when you do that. We had one of those EMF detectors. It had 5 lights on it. I forget exactly what the lights were, but I remember the 4th light was orange and the 5th light was red. And then we were videotaping it on top of it. We scanned around to make sure we weren't getting any, odd, frequency jumps. Everything seemed pretty normal. So we started the audio recorder and we started asking questions. Well, first we said, we have this device here, you could touch it and make the colors change, or talk into our audio device. And we asked that we're going to ask some yes or no questions. And for yes, light it up to orange. And for no, light it up to red. So we asked like maybe a series of 15 or 20 questions. And we would ask a question, wait a few seconds, and then the thing would start blinking orange or it would start blinking red. And this happened about 15 times. So that's kind of strange on its own. And then when we went back to listen to the audio recording, there was voices that matched up with what we were getting on the device. So you could hear like my sister say, oh, it's red, no. And you could hear like a no whisper in the background. And then there was a couple of times where we heard a voice repeating what one of us was saying. One of them, my sister, was responding and said, oh, that's good to know. And then very faintly you hear in the background, it's good to know. Just strange stuff like that. Now, on their own, it's not very compelling, but when you take two pieces like that, that's a lot harder to look at and just dismiss. So I was wondering what you guys' thoughts were.
We're just curious. First question, obviously,
my buddy does have them. I'll get a hold of them, and I can show you guys that once I get a hold of it.
Well, I'll tell you this. Like, for example, I had actually done on a reel-to-reel tape backwards playing of Stairway to Heaven, Led Zeppelin, right? And I am convinced it sounds just like Here's to My Sweet Satan. I mean, that is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Now, was that intended? I doubt it. They say that it wasn't. It was completely just you're hearing it. But there's no question that is what it sounds like. You don't even have to have anybody tell you. I remember, hey, my sister, my dad, what does this sound like to you? And they're like, Here's to My Sweet Satan. It's very audible.
Do you know if you play?
It's not just like imagination.
Steve, if you play a Rush record backwards,
it
sounds better.
Don't mess with Rush. Don't mess with Rush. Hey, producer, can we get rid of Kyle for a minute? Oh, shit.
No, we can't.
Kyle is the producer.
Sorry, we cannot.
Damn it. Got a bit diss on Rush, man.
Speaking of producers, just want hope Bool's doing well. So,
he is.
Yeah.
Thank you. He is. He's well.
We
Good
miss
to hear.
Dave. We do miss
Yeah,
Dave.
Dave's a good guy.
So we've got about 10 minutes left, Dan, before we have to close out and switch over for round two. So is there anything that you want to make sure that we got to in particular?
No, it's just kind of fun to talk about. I did want to bring up something else though. There's been a lot of doxing going on in the community lately, and I just want to say, like, I don't care if you're a globetard, a flat tard, a creatard, a concave earth tard. It is not cool to dox anybody. You're a douchebag if you do that. I don't care what side of the argument you're on.
You're a douchebag. Yes, there are people doxing people in the community right now, and well, the people that are doing the doxing, they're not in the community, but they can fuck right off as well.
Is it more than just one? More than Team Skeptic?
It's just one that I know of. Yeah, just Pratt.
I got doxed by G-Man a couple months ago, and the only thing that pissed me off about it was that I only got one phone call out of it. You'd think I'd get more.
You know what we should do, Kyle?
What?
How about we and by the way, don't go cheat on these people just because I'm telling him on air that we should do this. How about I can go find some backward masking type things, right? Just play some audio clips and have the external chat see what they think it says. It'll be fun.
Sure. Do it.
Although they have dirty minds, so I really don't know what the hell they're going to come up with. But yeah, it should be interesting. Yeah.
Let's do backwards record playing ASMR.
Yeah, there you go. I'm telling you, the Here's to My Sweet Satan really does sound like that. I'm not exaggerating.
I've heard that.
Have you ever listened to it, Kyle?
Yeah,
I have heard that. I've heard it.
To me, it sounds that way because I've been told what to expect it to.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
if I wasn't told that ahead of time, I would have never made that connection. You got to think about this though. How bored do you have to be listening to a backwards record of Stairway to Heaven and find a spot that sounds like my sweet Satan. Like,
So,
what are
somebody
you
went out of the
doing?
way to.
Like, what,
Well, I
literally,
think
what are
no,
you
I think
doing?
what happened. No, I think what happened was because they did have backward masking for some of the Beatles song, and those were intentional. And then other people were like trying to relate it to other groups to see if they had any backward masking in it back in the 70s.
It's the same as the night before last with the people in the Stars and Nicolas Cage, or Keanu Reeves is portrayed out in the Stars. Now, some of the stuff was interesting, but there's a limit that I think you can cross, and you can't hit that limit. Like, you can't go from, okay, I see Virgo, I see the rabbit, I see something that looks like a sextant, I see, this is Alice in Wonderland. Okay, I can buy that. But when you tell me that Keanu Reeves and a Nick Cage movie, and then Face Off with John Travolta and Nick Cage is foretold in the constellations, just don't go too far.
Is that where it jumped a shark for you? Is that where it jumped a shark? It
Yeah.
jumped a shark for me when we went into the Electric Universe, because you don't even know how much I can't stand Electric Universe.
It was interesting as hell. And actually, Steve, I got an email, remind me to forward it to you, from a guy from the Thunderbolts project, taking a tour of the Electric Universe. He said that you were entirely unfair in your generalization of Electric Universe, and he wants to...
They always say that, though. I tell you what, I have a plasma physicist friend, a PhD, that is an expert in plasma physics. I've introduced him to Electric Universe before. I'm going to send him some stuff, and he and I can get together. And the thing with Electric Universe is that they combine a lot of actual science with a lot of woo-woo, what I consider to be just BS. And the stuff that they do hold on to is legit stuff. Birkeland currents do exist in the ionosphere. They're huge currents that flow from north to south or south to north, but they're high amperage, like really high amperage. But that doesn't mean that the entire universe is governed by plasma and electromagnetic radiation that supersedes that of gravity, because they think that whatever they think gravity is, they still think that the universe is bounded because of these huge electrical currents that go throughout the entire universe, and that's causing these plasma filaments. And so plasma is the dominating force. So it's a little bit out there. Okay, it's a lot out there, actually.
Were you there, Steve?
But,
were you there?
No, but I know a lot of people that know about physics, and they keep telling me the same stuff. That
Dan,
it's just
why don't you give us
it's called plasma cosmology.
Give us some final thoughts, or anything that you want to wrap up with, nuggets of wisdom,
Okay.
anything like that.
Shit. If you want wisdom, you're coming to the wrong guy. But this
You're wise enough to know that, though.
Oh, you know what? Here's something that I've found out, that the more I've learned over the years, the less I know. That's for sure. If anyone's interested, over on the page under my name, Dan Palladino, I stay away from the woo topics on there mostly. It's mostly just kind of for fun, parody. I kind of like to take the piss out of the flatties on there. I got a few videos on there. They're kind of like short little pretend commercials. The people in the community that have seen it seem to get a kick out of it. So if anyone's interested in that, check them out. If you are interested in the other woo stuff, I let my conspiratard show a little bit here and there, but I try not to in this community because I like the people in it. The one last point I wanted to make is I don't follow any religion or any religious belief, but I'm not an atheist. I prefer hanging out with most of the atheists in this community as opposed to the theists. They seem to be much more judgmental and just not nice. You'd think that they would be nicer, if they're trying to, live by.
Have you read that book?
Which book?
The Bible.
Oh, that one? Actually, yeah, I have. Not cover to cover, but
It doesn't make nice people.
enough of it. No, and I'm telling you, I think the God of the Bible has either got dissociative identity disorder, or it's a bunch of different beings masked as one.
Yeah. The God,
shout out to.
What you do notice in the God of the Bible is the Old Testament and the New Testament God seems completely different from each other.
Completely
right?
different.
It's like a whole different being
Absolutely.
that they're describing.
People can change,
Yeah,
Steve.
I recognize that. God evolved.
I do have Kyle, I was going to ask you, If you'd be interested in this somewhere down the road, I'm fascinated with Sumerian tablets, and a lot of the stuff in there points to all those gods in different cultures actually being the same beings, including the Christian God. I'm not saying that they're real people or real beings, but the archetypes, it seems to point that it's all the same character there.
Well, I'm going to tell you exactly where you need to go for that to get your feel of everything Sumerian, and that is Digital Hammurabi. Every single day they are uploading things exactly what you're talking about. And
wow.
They're a good friend of ours. They actually had their
awesome.
first appearance on YouTube on our show, but they are phenomenal. So I'll send you the link to their their YouTube channel, and you will just be there for days.
That's awesome.
Okay, I want to announce real quickly that a lot of you joined us for the Dr. Donald Prothero. I didn't say that correctly. How does he say it, Steve?
Prothero.
Prothero, yeah. Dr. Donald Prothero. And genius guy. I mean, it was one of the best episodes that we've done. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. But he recently wrote a book on flat Earth. And so we got to thinking, a guy this genius would be phenomenal on a Flat Earth Day night. So he has agreed to come and take on a flat earther next Saturday. Dr. Donald Prothero, who is a world-renowned, geologist, paleontologist. I mean, just
smart dude. Like he's like legit smart. Yeah, he's like one of the smartest people around.
I feel so bad for whoever is brave enough to come take on Dr. Don, and he just agreed yesterday. And I have not sat down and thought about who.
Yeah, we need somebody good because that's going to be some notoriety to say that they had gone against Dr. Prothero. So you need to find somebody who's not a complete freaking idiot.
I sent allegedly Dave an email, and he said, "I said, this will be a good opportunity for you," and he sent me an email back saying, "A good opportunity for who?" I'm going to take that as a no. That he's
sounds like a no. Logan Paul, yeah. How about Logan Paul?
Oh. Yeah,
Why not,
I was getting ready to make a really. I'm so glad I didn't do that. I was getting ready to make a really inappropriate joke. It's way too soon. Okay.
Can you imagine Logan Paul trying to debate a doctor of geology about young creationism? Oh, that'd be epic. I would love that.
Yeah.
We could ask him. Why not, man? Doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt to try to get laughed at.
Well, if he debates Dr. Don, then he's going to be taking another trip back over to the suicide forest, and it's not going to be to film.
Well, just saying, I don't watch this stuff anyway, so no tragic loss to me.
Okay. So thank you to Dan for joining us and filling us in on his story. We really appreciate it. We're going to close this stream, switch formats real quick, and then we'll be back in probably 10 minutes. So, see you shortly. Dan, take us out with something brilliant.
Oh, geez, you're going to put some pressure on me like that. Oh, great. All right, here's something. NASA does lie to us, and the government lies to us. But guess what? The Earth isn't flat. That's all I got.
Good man.
Amen.